By Bill O'Reilly.
When am I wrong, Mr. Eastwood?
You're never wrong.
Enter the no-spin zone. 877-9-NO-SPIN. 1-877-9-NO-SPIN. And now, here's Bill O'Reilly.
I think it's safe to say that if Mel Gibson didn't get drunk, he wouldn't be in this terrible situation he finds himself in. And if a young woman, 18-year-old Jennifer Moore of Harrington Park, New Jersey, didn't get drunk, she'd be alive today. It'd be interesting to know, of all the adults in the United States, how many of them get drunk on a regular basis. I don't know if there's any study that shows that. We know that 10% of Americans are alcoholics. That means they use alcohol to excess on a regular basis. 10%, that's a lot. That's a lot. We don't know socially how many people get drunk. A lot of people won't admit it or whatever. It's very hard to study it. But anyway, and we've said this many times, if you get hammered on a regular basis, your life is going to take a turn for the worse. Okay, nothing good is going to come of that. Now, I want to do these two stories for you to just show you that it's not... See, what we have here in our society and also in Europe, not so much in Japan, but in a lot of other countries around, it's like, okay, it's cool to get hammered, and it's cool to get blasted, and yuck, and okay, it's really fun, this is a fun thing, and everybody does it, so I'm going to do it. And it's acceptable, it's socially acceptable. On every level, it's socially acceptable to go out and get intoxicated, and that's the truth. So what happens when you do that? Well, first of all, if you don't have anybody watching over you, and you get an automobile, well, then there you go. You could kill somebody. And we have more than a million DUI incidents every year in this country, according to Mothers Against Drunk Driving. More than a million. Just do the math on that, okay? And tens of thousands of people get killed because people are bombed behind the wheels. We all know that. And then you have young people like Miss Moore. Let me tell you her story. On Friday night, July 28th, she went out with a girlfriend into New York City to club. And what these young girls do is they have phony IDs because it's 21 to drink in New Jersey and New York. And they go from club to club in downtown Manhattan, and they get bombed. And then they come out, and God knows what's going to happen to them because there are predators everywhere in a big city like this. So anyway, these two girls come in from the suburbs, and they get bombed, and their car is towed because they're moronic girls, and, you know, they don't have a car, so they're standing there in the middle of the night with no car. And then they separate because they're drunk. They separate, which you never do. All right, now Jennifer Moore, 18, on her way to college, she was 5'2", 105 pounds, wearing a mini skirt and a halter top with a bare midriff. Now again, there you go. So every predator in the world is going to pick that up at 2 in the morning. She's walking by herself on the West Side Highway, and she gets picked up by a thug. All right? Now, she's out of her mind, drunk. And the thug takes her over to New Jersey in the cab and kills her and rapes her and does all these terrible things to her. And the thug is so stupid, he uses her cell phone, and the cops trace it back to him, and they arrest him, charged with murder. He had a prostitute girlfriend with him. She's charged as an accessory to murder. But Jennifer Moore is in the ground. She's dead. All right. Now, she's 18 years old, and she lives at home. So what is there a parental responsibility here? Now, I think back to my own when I was 18. When I was 18, I was pretty much on my own here. On my own. All right? I was in college, and I came back and lived at my parents' house on Long Island during the summer, but I was never there, and I didn't have any curfew, and my parents didn't know what I was doing. I worked during the day painting houses, and I go out with my dopey friends at night and raise hell. Now, I never drank. I didn't get drunk, so they didn't have to worry about that. But I had a car, and I was zipping around, and if I wanted to stay out all night, I was going to stay out all night. Nobody told me what to do when I was 18. Now, at least, you were 18? What?
I was 18. I moved 3,000 miles away from my parents, so you were on your own.
You were on your own,
That's
too.
Right.
Okay. But today, if I have an 18-year-old daughter, and if it's a guy, probably not the same standard, but if I had a daughter who's 5'2", and 105 pounds, I'd say that daughter would probably have a curfew living under my roof. I'm not letting the daughter run around all night, just for safety reasons. Okay, so the reason that Jennifer Moore is dead is because she got drunk. All right? The reason Mel Gibson is in the trouble of his life, and, you know, his family, you got to really feel bad for them. He's got a bunch of kids and his wife and all that. It's because he got drunk. It's because he got drunk. Wouldn't have happened. He wouldn't have been pulled over by the cops. You know, I don't know whether he would have said stuff or not when he saw. I don't know him that well. I mean, he never said anything objectionable in front of me, but maybe he would have spewed that thing if he wasn't drunk. I don't know. But the whole thing unfolded because he was drunk. Now, apparently at the restaurant he was at in Malibu, they said, look, you're drunk, you know, we'll drive you home. And, you know, he said no, as most drunks will do. They get belligerent. No, I'm driving myself. I can do it. You know how it is. All right, so is this a cautionary tale of people pick this up? I don't know. You know, I never ever see media people, ever, in any circumstance, say, you know, it's not good to get intoxicated. I never see. Have you ever seen that?
No, but it's such an obvious message.
I never. If you guys know any media person who's ever said that, would you call me right away at 1-877-9-NO-SPIN and tell me that? I never see that. All I see is music videos of people taking drugs and drinking and Kid Rock and Pamela Anderson with the tequila bottles and everybody at college going, yeah, let's get hammered. This is drunk night and keg night and this night and that night, and I'm saying there's not one person who says, you know, this might not be a good idea. And you know, look, I'm no blue nose. I mean, you know, if you want to get drunk in your basement, and you don't leave the basement, and you got somebody there watching that you don't crack your head open when you fall down, or you know, smother yourself in your own vomit. And this is all nice stuff that happens when you get drunk. By the way, I'm not making this up. If you got somebody down there watching, I don't care. If you want to do that for some whatever reason, then you know, it's not to me to say that you shouldn't do it. But if you want to go out and impair yourself with any substance, I'm going to say, I don't want you doing that. Number one, you're going to put me and my family in danger. And number two, you're going to hurt yourself, and I don't want to see you hurt yourself. I'm looking out for you. But I never see anybody. There's no peer pressure. There's none. The last peer pressure there was Nancy Reagan. Prissy little Nancy Reagan with the giant hair.
Just say no.
Just say no. And I mean, everybody's going, I don't know, Nancy Reagan. It worked to some extent.
Mm-hmm. Got the DARE programs going.
You know, and you got to give Nancy credit for even doing it. I mean, anybody else do it. But that was it. There's nobody. Can you imagine tonight, Jon Stewart or Jay Leno or David Letterman or any of these icons that young people watch saying, you know, it might not be good to do that. I can't imagine it. I just can't imagine it. All right, we're going to bring in somebody who deals with this stuff all the time. An interesting question you might want to answer about the 18-year-old girl. You know, if she's living at your house, you let her out all night in a halter and, you know, don't know where she is, no curfew. Is that what's happening these days? I don't know. I'd like to know what you think about that. And you can comment on the Gibson situation or this terrible murder or anything you want at 1-877-9-NO-SPIN. We'll be right back.
You're in the No Spin Zone with Bill O'Reilly.